Okay, so we can see we've made some progress here. All these wires have been extended, so I've got some additional wire inside the heat shrink tubing. They've been heat shrunk and tied together, and they're all nice and solidly replaced. They will be absolutely fine. I mean, it's aesthetically not great, but in terms of its power handling and its rigidity, absolutely fine, no problem at all. So I've done those ones there. Started over this side here. What else have we done? Oh, I've reassembled absolutely tons of things. So these solenoids were all hanging off, the switches were hanging off, or not, or missing entirely. All these little, I don't know what we call these, the switch wire forms, they were all missing, all of them, right? Those ones as well, those ones as well. Yes, this mechanism, so these are the kickers in the sides, both of those have been rebuilt. So yeah, pop bumpers, pop bumper switches, I don't know what we call this, sort of the captive area, the ball rolls down into here and kicks it back out. So yeah, there's been, I don't know, 50 or 60 screws worth of things. Stand-up targets are back in. Yeah, been quite a lot of things to do. Yeah. Right, so I found a couple of disturbing things. Well, not the previous owner, I don't believe he's done this, but one of the previous owners has done some really stupid things with playfield. Obviously, they're cutting all the wires. But if we look, so this is that sort of kickback coil. They've been modified, a few of the coils, so that rather than work from the CPU, so the switch triggers and then the CPU kicks the ball out, they've actually modified them so that basically the switch is firing the coil. So as soon as the ball touches the switch, it fires the coil. Now these are low voltage switches, and as you can see, that's all burnt and discoloured because you can't put high voltage through a blooming CPU switch. So yeah, it's kind of part of what they've been doing with this chopping up wires thing, is like making all the coils fire automatically off of the switches for some stupid reason. The same over here. So got this coil here, and I was trying to work out where all these wires go. I've got this green and yellow one here, and I don't see the other end of it over here. Also, we've got these two sort of purple and white, and over here we've only got one purple and white. So I've noticed that they've basically, again, from the switch, soldered straight onto the coil. So I can imagine that, I'll have to check the manual, but I imagine that green and yellow one there is actually the coil return, and instead of that, so they've chopped that off and they've wired it to the switch. So again, they're making all these coils automatically fire on the switches rather than being controlled by the CPU, which is obviously not good at all, because it won't score anything, it won't work properly, and you can't use these low voltage switches. I don't know how badly burnt that was, I can't really see it, but you can't use these low voltage switches for high voltage, they will burn up in a few fires. So I have no idea what the hell they were doing to this. They've trashed the poor thing. But yeah, we'll get it all sorted. It's just a shame that we have to go through fixing some idiot's mistakes or whatever they thought they were doing. I have absolutely no idea. Right, I'm just going to show you a bit of the work in progress so you can see how it's working out. So we take the existing wires from the coil and switches. We basically solder on a little extension piece of wire of the same gauge. So a nice solid solder joints, these won't break if they're done properly. So what we do, yes, we extend it down to, these are where the wires are here. We need to obviously see if I can do this on the camera. I can't line it up looking through the camera very well. We basically need to snip off, there you go, the end of this wire, tin it up with solder, and then we'll basically join it down to that yellow wire there. Once we've done that, before we've done that, what we need to do is we cut a piece of heat shrink tubing that is longer. There, it starts about there and it goes over the end, so that basically the entire thing is wrapped up securely. So before we solder the other end on, we have to slide the heat shrink tubing on. So just slide it up like that, snip the wire, solder it on, and then pull it down, and then heat it up to shrink it. Okay, as you can see, we've done a bit more wiring here. That's all tied up, and we've done a bit over here. That's all tied up as well. Now the problem we've got here is obviously this has been absolutely hacked to death and it's wired up wrong. But where are the wires? Where does it go? I can only imagine it's this cluster here. But this appears to be facing the wrong way. So this is a pot bumper, isn't it? Yeah, it's a pot bumper switch under there. Well, skirt switch. So there's holes for a switch here, and the switch is around this side. So this plate must be on the wrong way round, because yeah, that switch can't go through the back of the metal plate. But there's no hole here for that. So this whole plate must be rotated for some reason. What insanity is this? Must be a bit more work to change that round. Oh, this is just horrible. Oh. Yeah, even when I turn that round, it's not going to reach easily. So it's got quite a bit of extension there. Right, about 4 inches of extra wire. That switch there is hideous. I need to get a new one of those. Right, there we go, so we can rotate this back round into the right position, as it should go the same way as the other pot bumpers. The other thing I need to do is, I think when they've twisted it round, they've ripped this GI wire off, so we need to solder that back on while we've got this dismantled like that. Right, I'll just show you this area here that I'm working on in a minute. All this black here is soot, and all the wires are covered in it here, so I've just had to give these all a wipe. And we can see the root cause here is this bulb socket has that wire's all melted there, and that's obviously put black smoke out. This bulb holder's shorted because it's rusted. I don't know how it got rusted and then powered up, but yeah, basically shorted out and it's burnt up. So I'm just cleaning all this up. Also, all this wiring's been chopped. We're just extending it all out. We'll bundle it back up, tidy it up, and then we'll cut everything to the correct length to join it up to the coils and switches and so on. And so the biggest problem I keep seeing time and time again in this machine, I have to keep correcting, is that they've basically modified the wiring so that the low voltage switches, which should be controlling the CPU board, or should be on the switch matrix as it were, they're basically wired directly to the coils, and as you can see the wiring's been cut, modified and so on, so that the coil will fire from the switch without the CPU. So I'm absolutely certain now, after seeing all this, someone's actually modified this playfield to be playable with no CPU. So literally, you know, hitting switches will fire coils. It was done to all the pot bumpers, all the kickers, and again the flippers are a right mess. Just been doing the wiring here for this trough switch, and I need to look it up on the manual properly, but I've got these wires here. This is just a mess. I don't know what's going on there. Same with this one. Just an absolute mess. I have no idea how they've wired this up. I need to get the manual and trace out this wiring, put it back to how it should be. I'm not sure where these are supposed to go. It looks like we've got a power feed on the coil. So, this is so frustrating. Yeah, this kicker over here, exactly the same thing. Look, we've got these extra wires, snipped wires, soldered the switches straight to high voltage. It also means that all the electronic switches are going to be absolutely knackered. I'm going to have to replace them all. So, not the easiest thing in the world to find switches for old Sterns anyway. But let's have a quick recap. So, it's not tidied up properly yet, but as you can see, we've replaced a whole ton of wiring now. So yeah, we're basically extending it, then heat shrink wrapping it, tying it up, with a bunch there. This is a bit I haven't finished, so I'll do them a bit longer than I need to, so that I can then form them and then cut them to the right size and join them up. But we need a switch here. I'm totally missing the pot bumper switch, so I need to get one of those. And 4 of these wires are for that switch, and 2 are for bulbs. So we've got one there, one there. Again, I don't know off the top of my head which. I need the manual to check that out. So I've kind of got to the point now where I need the manual to trace out the non-obvious ones. I've done all these ones up here, I could work out easily enough, but no, not these. So we've got connectors to deal with as well. So this is the power feed connector on the playfield. That's had some serious issues in the past. Let's look at the wire. Yeah, and someone's cut the wires short here, so I need to make them all up to the same length again. So I need to extend these. What have we got here? So we've got plenty of Molex connectors that've got grimy looking pins, so we can place all these pins. It's going to really lead to increased reliability, so it's worth doing it now so I don't have to do them ever again or have to worry about intermittent contacts. I've gone to huge efforts anyway, so we might as well do this all properly. Well, as properly as you can to something that's been hacked to this extent. So it's never going to be perfect in terms of cosmetic look underneath the playfield, but for all intents and purposes, when it's done, it's going to play perfectly. It's going to be safe. Wiring's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine on top of the playfield. It's just that we've got these unfortunate bits where we basically had to not bodge it, but repair it, heat shrink it. So it just spoils the original look. But at the end of the day, pinball's to be played, and that's what we're doing. We're making this to be back to being playable as it should be, rather than sat here being broken and hacked up. So let's carry on.